No pain or discomfort. If you need to rest, have a rest, recover, start again when you're ready to pick it up again. So setting yourself up, if you're lying down on the mat, finding a comfortable position for the head, using a little pillow to support the head. If you need to, the arms relaxing down the side, the legs are straight or bent, whichever it's easier. If you're sitting up, see if you can find a good position that allows you to lift at the front, open up at the front so that you can breathe better. So the front of the body is not squashed and compressed, they're forcing you to breathe apically, forcing you to breathe into the rib cage and into the collarbones. So see if you can give yourself a little bit more space. And then just taking a few breaths to notice how the body feels. If you're lying down on the back and noticing how the pressure is across the back. So do I feel the same pressure behind the right or behind the left shoulder? Do I feel the same pressure across the hips? If I'm sitting up, do I feel the same pressure with my seat bones? Do I feel myself leaning slightly to one side, leaning slightly to the other? I'm not changing anything, just noticing where the body is and how the body feels. And then once that you feel the body's a little bit more settled, just notice the breath. Am I breathing into the belly? So am I allowing the diaphragm to expand and relax to create that breath? Or am I breathing into the chest? So notice the movement. Can I feel the belly moving when I breathe? Or do I feel the chest lifting when I breathe? Can I try and calm that breath down? Can I soften the throat? Can I relax the collarbones in the front of the chest? Can I encourage the breath to drop right down into the belly? So encouraging the diaphragm to move inside the rib cage, raising and falling, creating that relaxed, soft breath. Once you feel that the breath feels a little bit calmer, a little bit easier, then I'm going to focus on the upper body, starting with the neck. I'm going to start turning the head to look over one shoulder, and then coming back to the middle, I'm going to turn to look the other way. Maintaining that movement going, noticing any restriction right and left side. So I might find as I turn one way, it feels a little bit easier. As I turn the other way, it feels a bit restricted. It feels a little bit stiffer. I'm going to focus on the restricted side. Playing with the position of the head, or notice the position of the head. As we turn one way, you might find that the chin tends to kind of like almost drop towards the shoulder, or move towards the shoulder. As I turn the other way, I feel that the chin is keeping the same distance. So just noticing any deviation from that turning, any tucking into the chin, any lifting. See if I can find a nice smooth movement to the right and a nice smooth movement to the left. As I feel that the movement is a little bit easier, so I can turn easily from one side to the other without creating any pinching, any catching into the neck, then I'm going to try and encourage a little bit more traction across the neck. So I'm going to turn to look over the right shoulder and then keeping the head there. See if you can try and create traction using your left shoulder. So can I push the left shoulder back? So if I'm lying down, I will try to push it into the floor. If I'm sitting up, I'm trying to push it into the wall behind. So see if I can create a gentle traction that goes from across the front of the shoulder, through the front of the chest, into the side of the neck, all the way into the base of the jaw. And then I'm just going to hold it steady in that position. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Returning the head back to the middle, turning to look over the left shoulder. So I'm going to hold the head and then pushing that right shoulder back. See if I can create a gentle traction that from the front of the chest comes up into the side of the neck, all the way up towards the jaw, towards the base of the ear. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Returning the head back to the middle, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, making sure the shoulders, neck don't feel too stiff. I'm going to change the movement or change the rotation. We're going to take it down into the thoracic spine. So this time, keeping the head still, I'm going to start rotating through the upper body, raising the arms up to the front, clasping the hands together or keeping the hands apart, whichever it's easier. I'm going to start to swing in the arms, rotating one, and then rotating to the other side, rotating one, rotating to the other side. So if I'm seated up, imagine to be kind of like a swing in a bat, so from side to side, from side to side. If you're lying down on the back, see if you can think of rolling from one shoulder over to the other side. So I'm going to rock it from one shoulder to the other, encouraging that rotation at the top of the spine. And then same as you did for the neck, just noticing any restriction. I feel that when I swing to the right, it feels easy. As I go to the left, it feels a bit catchy or a bit restricted. I'm going to focus on that direction, see if I can try and open up, ease up the movement as I'm going that way. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, releasing the shoulders, releasing the upper back. It's a little bit more movement at the top. I'm going to try and bring the rotation down, further down into the hips and down towards the leg. So if you're lying down on the back, shuffling feet and knees nice and close together, I'm going to start taking both legs around to the right. So I'm going to twist the hips and taking the legs with me. If I'm seated up, I'm going to use my hands. So cross the one leg, and then I'm just going to push them gently to one side, easing back to the center, and then I'm just going to push them the other way. Easing back to the center, and then pushing them the other way. So see if you can be a little bit more aware of movement, but this time at the base of the spine. So see if I can create that little twisting from the hips and more this time. If I'm seated, obviously I'm restricted as my seat bones are sitting on the chair, so I can't really rotate much, but the torso can still turn a little bit to create that rotation. If I'm lying down on the back, the movement is a little bit freer. See if you can be aware of the legs are keeping together, the knees are staying close, are staying together, so that the hips can really turn to that full rotation. If the top leg tends to slide off, then I'm losing the rotation as the hip is staying behind. So see if I can try and keep them together as if I had a ribbon tied around the knees, controlling the legs from one to the other side. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, relaxing the hips and releasing the back. It's just a little bit more movement in rotation through the all of the spine. I'm going to try and see if I can get the all of the spine to work together. So this time, raising the arms up to the front, clasping the hands together. I'm going to send the hips to the right, the arms to the left. And then as I do so, oh God, is Colin coming in late? Okay. As I do so, I'm going to turn the head to follow the arms. Then I'm going to reverse. I'm going to send the legs to the left, the arms and the head to the right. And then I'm going to rotate the other way again. So see if you can picture the spine in full rotation. So I can feel my neck rotating, my rib cage, my lower back, and all of the spine is twisting. The hips are going one way, the shoulders and the head going the other to create that twist, to create that spiraling movement around the spine. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, releasing the shoulders, releasing the back. Small movement in rotation. I'm going to start changing the direction of the movement. The same as before, I'm just going to split the movement first and then see if I can bring them all together. So I'm going to start off with the neck the same as before. I'm going into a little lateral flexion. So I'm going to try and bring my right ear to my right shoulder. So I'm going to move the head to the side this time. The left ear to the left shoulder, and then right to the right again. And then keeping the movement going, same as you did for the rotation. This time, it should be a little bit more marked. As I bring the right ear to the right shoulder, I can feel a little traction right down the left side of the neck. As I bring the left ear to the left shoulder, I can feel the traction down the right side of the neck. So right to the right, left to the left. Just making sure that as I'm doing so, nothing is pinching. There is no pain shooting down the arms. So there's no tingling into the fingers. There's no referred pain. So I'm not pinching on the nerves. And then same as you did for the rotation, I'm going to try and see if I can put just a little bit more traction into the neck. So on the next one, I'm going to drop the right ear to the right shoulder, and then keeping the head to that side, I'm going to depress that left shoulder. So I'm going to press that left shoulder down. Is it somebody suddenly put their hand on top, and then they were pulling it down and towards the hips. So holding that traction there, feeling it coming down from the base of the ear, down the side of the neck, almost like to the top of the shoulder. 3, 2, 1, and easing back. The same thing to the other side. Left ear to the left shoulder. I'm going to hold the head to the side and then pressing the right shoulder down and away from the head. See if I can get the same traction, moving down the side of the neck, going over the top of the shoulder. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Bring the head back to the middle again, giving the shoulders a little roll, the head a little turn. From the neck, I'm going to move through the thoracic spine into the upper back again. So if you're lying down on the back, you might want to support the head. So I'm just going to pop one hand behind the head to support it. If I'm seated up, I don't need the support of the head sits on top of the shoulder. So with the spare hand, I'm going to start reaching down along the side. I'm going to flex to the side. So if I'm seated up, imagine to be reaching something by the side of the chair, then I'm going to come back, and then with the other arm, I'm going to try and do the same thing to the other side. Coming back, and then to the other side. Whichever position you're working on, lying down or seated up, imagine something behind you. So if I'm seated, I'm picturing my back against the wall. So I want my head, my shoulders, my bum to stay on the wall as I'm moving from side to side. If I'm lying down, the back is against the floor, so it's going to give me a little bit more feedback. So there is no twisting, there is no rotation, just a little flexion from one side to the other. And then each time, imagine to be measuring how far you're going with the arm. So each time, see if I can try and maybe go a little bit further, a little bit deeper. Noticing the tension into the obliques, into the side of the belly, pulling you down to the right, and then pulling you down to the left. The head is still facing forward, so with the tip of the nose, I'm pointing straight to the ceiling if I'm lying down, or at the wall in front of me if I'm seated up. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, returning the head back to the middle again, releasing the shoulders, relaxing the back. I'm going to try the same, but this time I'm going to do it with the hips. So imagine your hips to be your head. What I want is that lateral flexion going from side to side. So my lower back is my neck. I want my neck to flex to the right and then to flex to the left. So if you're lying down, think of hitching the right hip up towards the right side of the rib cage and then the left towards the left. So I'm trying to shorten the right and then shorten the left side. So I can feel the pelvis rocking gently from side to side. I can still feel the tension into the side of the hip, side of the belly. If I'm seated up, I'm going to try and lift my right bum cheek off the chair, come back, and then see if I can pull up on the left. And then pull up on the right, and then pull up on the left. As if you're trying to walk your seat bones up and down. So I'm just going to try and walk my right seat bone up, then put it down, or my left up and put it down. Using the hands next to the chair, on the edge of the chair, to give a little support if I feel I'm a bit unsteady or I feel that I'm struggling a bit to create that lift. So see if I can try and connect it to the right side of the belly to pull up on the right side, and then connect to the left side of the belly to pull up on the left. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, resetting the hips are centered in the middle. It's a little bit more connection at the bottom of the belly. Same as I did for the rotation, I'm going to try and get all of the spine working together. So if you're seated, again, you don't need to support the head, because the head sits on top, it's easy enough. If I'm lying down, I'm going to support the head. I'm going to pop both hands to the head to begin with. And then taking a deep breath in, as I breathe out, I'm going to start to flex into the right. And at the same time, I want to hitch my right hip up. So imagine with your elbow to be touching your hip, with your hip to be touching your elbow. Then I'm going to ease my way back, and then left elbow to the left hip trying to come up towards the left elbow, and then coming back the other way. So if I'm seated, again, the lift from the bottom up won't be very high. See if you can try and create that tension that is squeezing the size of the side of the waist from the top to the bottom and from the bottom to the top. If I'm lying down, I've got a little bit more freedom. So see if I can feel the ribcage moving towards the hip, and then trying to move the hip towards the ribcage too. So I can feel that tension there. And then same the other way. 6, 5, 4, remember to breathe. 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, finding that center line again, realigning the spine, realigning the body, giving the head a gentle roll, making sure that the neck doesn't feel stiff, it doesn't feel tight. And then from lateral flexion, I'm going to start going into extension. So starting with the upper back first, I'm going to let the arms relax down the side, and then pushing the breastbone, pushing the chest forward, as if I was trying to stick my chest out. I'm going to try and lift up. So if I'm lying down, what I want is for the back of my ribcage to arch, to lift away from the ground. If I'm seated up, what I want is for the upper back to lose that rounded curve, and then to try and extend and open up the other way. Then I'm going to release, and then again, sending the chest, sending the breastbone up and towards the ceiling, see if I can encourage that extension, and then I'm just going to drop it back again. So think of a little movement right into the center of the rib cage. As if somebody had a hand between your shoulder blades and was pushing you forward, pushing you up, and then somebody at the front of the chest is pushing you back. So they're pushing me forward, pushing me back, pushing me forward, pushing me back. So loosening up some of the stiffness, some of the tension from the thoracic spine, and at the same time, see if I can try and open up at the front of the chest. So as I extend, think of opening, think of lifting. The shoulders are separating, the breastbone is lifting. If I'm lying down on the back, imagine to be pushing the back of the shoulder, rolling the shoulders down into the mat. If I'm seated up, I think of squeezing your shoulder blades together into that lift, and then releasing back. And then if I feel that the movement starts feeling a little bit easier, a little bit looser, and I feel that I can progress it, then I'm going to get the arms involved to this time. So extending up, sending the chest forward into that extension. I'm going to encourage more lift. I'm going to raise the arms up and towards the ceiling, and then I'm just going to drop everything back. Then again, I'm going to push through the front of the chest. I'm going to try and lift and open up, and then release and back. So little lift, a big lift, big movement, little movement into the shoulder, into the arm. making sure that I'm not forcing the movement. So nothing is suddenly catching, pinching, or creating pain there. Making sure that I'm not suddenly stiffening into the neck. So notice the movement, especially if you're sitting up. If the shoulder is tight, if I force the arms to lift, the tendency is for the weight of the arm to pull me forward even more. What I want is to go backwards and open. So making the movement maybe a little bit smaller, but still trying to encourage that opening through. And then I'm just going to release back. 2 more times. So I'm going to extend with or without the arms and release, extend, and releasing back. So giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll again. It's a little bit more movement through the thoracic. I'm going to focus on the neck this time. I'm going to try and do a similar thing that I was doing with the rib cage, but this time I'm going to work on the cervical spine. So I'm going to start off with a little skull rock. The head stays on the floor. If you're lying down, I'm going to push the chin into the back of the throat, as if I was trying to give myself a double chin. So I'm going to push the chin in and then see if I can picture the back of the neck flattening against the floor. Then I'm going to bring the chin forward. I'm going to lift up and then trying to open up the front of the throat. I'm going to try and look up and look behind. Then again, I'm going to bring the chin in, give myself the double chin to lengthen through, and then I'm going to poke it forward, lifting up, opening up through the front of the throat. So think of a gentle rocking on the skull. So seated or standing, lying down or seated, there's no difference. The easiest is lying down, as I've got the floor behind the head to guide me. So I can feel the back of the neck moving close to the floor. I can feel the back of the neck lifting away from the floor. But when you're seated, imagine a wall behind you. So can I keep my head on the wall as I push the chin in and give myself that double chin? Can I try and lift away and open as I go the other way? So lengthening the throat, lengthening the back of the neck. And then noticing any restriction. I might find that the throat feels quite tight. I might find that my right side feels tighter than the left. Make sure that the head is centered. It's not slightly off to one side. I'm going to try 2 more times. So lengthening through the back of the neck and then opening out the front of the throat. Last time, lengthening the back of the neck and then opening up the front of the throat. And releasing back, returning the head back to the middle. Giving the head a gentle roll, again, making sure that there is no tension, no stiffness left. And then this time I'm going to work at the other end. What I want is to take the extension into the lumbar spine, into the lower back more. So if you're lying down, bending the knees, walking the feet up and towards you if they're not already there. I'm going to push down through the soles of the feet. And then I'm going to start coming up into bridge. So I'm going to push through the feet, to squeeze with the bum. I'm going to drive the hips up and towards the ceiling. Think of the front of the hips opening up, the back lifting away from the ground. Then I'm going to drop my way down. And then I'm going to squeeze my way up into that lift again. If you're sitting up, then think of your hands slightly behind you. Same as before, I'm going to push the chest forward, but this time I'm going to push my belly forward too. So with my belly button, I want to try and touch that wall in front of me. So I'm going to try and arch it from the bottom, trying to take it to the top of the spine, and then I'm going to go back. So I'm going to try and push the belly, push the chest forward, and then easing back. So see if I can create a bigger curve at the back and a bigger lift at the front. So this time I don't just want the chest to open, I want the front of the belly to lengthen. So I'm trying to stretch my breastbone as far away from my pubic bone as possible. I want the front of the abdomen to open up. If you're lying down on the back, the same as usual, notice the tension at the back of the hips into the back of the bum. If I can feel that the back of the leg is getting tight, or I can feel that I'm crumping up or on the verge of a crump, is normally because the bum is not doing a great job. So I'm just going to exaggerate that tension. I'm going to really try to clench the bum cheeks as I drive the hips up into that lift. And then I'm going to ease my way back down again. 2 more times. So pushing your way up into the bridge. And then easing your way back. Squeezing up into extension. And then releasing all the way back. Giving the legs a little walk, making sure that the back of the leg doesn't feel too stiff or too tight. I'm going to give the back of the leg a little stretch. So if you've got a band or a strap, a belt, anything, you can use the band around the foot. If I can't find one, I'm just going to use the hands at the back of the leg. I'm going to straighten up the leg as much as I can, and then gently easing that leg towards me until I can feel the stretch coming down the back of the leg. If I'm seated up, I can do the same. So if I can get the band around the foot, I can straighten up the leg and then gently pull it up and towards me into the stretch. If I find that I can't get the band around the foot, I can't lift the foot, it just won't lift up, I'm just going to slide that leg just a little bit further forward. So I'm going to try and open up the back of the knee. And then leaning forward into that leg, see if I can create a little stretch the other way. So instead of trying to pull the leg towards me, I'm trying to take the body towards the leg. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Easing the tension off the band, releasing the leg. I'm going to do the same thing to the left side. So band goes around to the left foot if I'm using the band. Reaching that left foot just slightly forward if I'm going forward with the body. And then bringing the leg towards you, or the body towards the leg. See if I can create that gentle traction. So picture your hamstring from the seat bone. They come down the back of the leg and they are touching to the back of the knee. Can I try and pull from the bottom all the way to the top? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Relaxing the legs and releasing the hips as a little bit more length down the back of the leg. I'm going to start working into the hip joint. So bending the knees, walking the feet up and towards you. If you're lying down, if you're sitting up, I'm going to start with a little bit of mobility through the hip. So I'm going to start going into single leg circle. Using the band around the back of the leg or using the hands around the leg. If I'm sitting, it's easy to just grab hold of the leg. And then I'm going to start to circling the leg. Imagine your thigh bone to be like a massive pencil. So I'm going to grab hold of that pencil if I need to hold it. And then I'm just going to start to draw in circles in front of me. So see if you can picture the top of the femur, the top of the leg moving into the hip socket. So it could be a very little movement. It could be a slightly bigger one. It doesn't matter, it depends on the hip. Just making sure that the movement is not creating grinding, it's not creating pinching, it's not creating pain. There's no pain in the groin, there's no pain in the hip. If I've got the strength to hold that leg on its own, I'm just going to hold it there. If I need to support it, I'll support it with the hands or with the strap. Especially if you're lying down on the back, as the leg is moving, see if you can be aware of your hips are keeping still. So making sure that the bum is not rocking up and down all over the mat. I want my hips to stay steady and then just the leg to move. Reversing the circle, going around the other way. With a little rest if I need a rest. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back, extending the leg away, allowing the hip, allowing the belly a little rest. I'm going to let the right leg have a rest and then do the same thing with the left side. So switching the band around at the back of the left leg if you feel that you need that little support there. Using the hands if it's easier. And then with that left knee, I'm going to start to drawing circles in front of me. So as if I was trying to hold a massive pencil and just trying to draw that big circle. Same as on the other side, just notice the movement. I might find that this leg moves better, or this leg feels a lot more, it's a lot stiffer, the movement feels a bit clicky or a bit grindy, a bit gritty. See if I can maybe slow it down a little bit and then see if I can try and avoid that grindy movement, to see if I can avoid that click. So opening up the movement if I can, keeping it small, keeping it contained. If I feel that that's what my hip or bit sleeper can do, making sure that it's not creating pain. Then when you're ready, reversing the circle, going around it the other way for 10, 9, hips nice and still, 8, imagine that tennis ball balancing in the center of the belly, 7, see if I can keep that tennis ball steady there, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing down, relaxing the leg, releasing the hip. There's a little bit more movement into the hip joint. I'm going to try and see if I can load it this time. So if you're on the back, bending both knees, if I'm seated up, same starting position as before, I'm going to take a deep breath in. As I breathe out, what I want is for the right foot to lift off the ground. So I'm going to lift the right leg up. And then I'm going to ease that leg back. And then I'm going to lift that left leg. And then ease back. Same as usual, it could be a very little lift, it could be a big lift, there might be no lift. It doesn't matter, just to see if you can find that connection to the front of the hip. So I know that the hip joint is a little bit warmer now, so can I try and think of the hip closing to create that little movement up? Can I think of the hip closing the other way to create that little lift the other way? So imagine to be going for a little walk. So I'm trying to lift that right foot and put it back, and then lifting that left foot and then put it back. I might only be able to lift the heel of the foot. I might just barely be able to lift the big toe. I might be able to lift very high. One side might be working better than the other. I'm doing what I can. I'm using what I've got to right and left side. 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, relaxing the hips, releasing the belly. There's a little bit more activation from the belly into the hips. What I want this time is to work the other way around. If you lie down on the back, easy, keep the knees bent, reach both hands to the back of the head, tilting the chin again as if you're trying to give yourself that double chin, but this time I'm going to scoop the head off the ground. I'm going to lift the head, lift the shoulders, and then I'm going to curl up as high as I can. Imagine it possible to be putting your head upright on top of the chest. Then I'm going to ease my way back. If you're seated up, we're going to be working in reverse. So we're going to hold on to the back of the chair again. And then this time, imagine to be lifting both feet off the ground. So I'm going to pull up through the hip. But more than anything, see if I can tense through the front of the belly. See if I can lift both and then pop them back down. So imagine to be jumping. So I'm going to try and jump and release. But see if you can really feel that connection into the belly. So I might not actually be able to lift the feet, but see if I can try and feel that tension wrapping through the middle that is trying to create that lift up. If you're on the back, making sure that the chin is still tucked close to the chest as you're coming up into that little half curl. Notice the neck. I don't want to grip with my jaw, so I'm not clenching my teeth and I'm not poking my chin. So my chin is not going forward and the back of the neck is stiffening. I'm trying to tuck the chin, lengthen the back of the neck, using the belly to create that lift. 5, curling your way in, and then easing your way back. 4, find the breath that works for you, making sure that you're not holding the breath. 3, 2, focus on the belly, keep pulling through the belly. Last one. And releasing back, giving the head a gentle roll, making sure that there is no stiffness or tension into the neck, extending the legs away, extending the arms away, stretching down the front of the belly, stretching down the front of the hips. If you're seated up, see if you can encourage a nicer opening through. So I'm going to try and maybe slide both legs forward and then lean back to see if I can try and open the front of the body just a little bit more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, resetting your neutral, resetting the position, same as before. I'm going to try and change the direction of the load. See if I can bring it onto the sideline, side of the hip or side of the leg. So if you're lying down on the back, I want you to roll over onto your side. Setting yourself into sideline. I'm going to use the arm to support the head if the shoulder allows me to do so. Otherwise, I'm just going to pop a pillow under the head and then just wrap the arm around the pillow instead. Once the head is set, I'm going to set to the legs. The knees are bent, nice and close together. The feet are together too. What I want you to picture is a band that goes from the side of the knee, up the side of the leg, into the side of the bum, side of the hip. What I want is for the band to tighten up and for that top knee to start opening out into a little clump. And then I'm going to ease back. So see if you can think of the tension coming from the side of the bum, pulling on the side of the leg, lifting that knee. And then I'm going to ease back. So keeping that movement going. If you're sitting on the chair, unless the hip is quite stiff or quite temperamental, because you're sitting up, there is no gravity. So I'm not working against the gravity. So if I want to make it a little bit harder, I'm just going to push with the hand in. And then with the leg, I'm just going to try and push out against the other hand. Or with the other side, I can do the same. So see if I can, trying to get the side of the bum to do a little bit more work against the pull of the arm. So see if I can get the side muscle to work, to open up and then close back to the center. If you're lying down on the side, just try to notice the movement. Can I make sure that it's the leg moving into the hip socket, not the all of the body that is moving forward and back. So I'm not turning the body, I'm just opening the knee, opening the leg. 3, 2, and then last one, I want you to hold it out there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing down, letting the knees slip forward, giving the hip a little tap, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. I'm going to give that leg a little stretch, so rolling over onto your back. If you're lying down, the leg that you've just been using for clump, I'm going to bend it and then bring it towards me. Supporting it with both hands to begin with. I'm just going to jiggle the leg around until you can feel, picture your leg dropping into the hip socket. So it feels relaxed, it feels quite loose here. Once that I feel that is set, then with the opposite hand, I'm going to hold that leg. The other arm, I'm going to stretch it out to the side to counterbalance. And then I'm just going to gently start to pull in the leg across to the front of the body. As soon as you can feel the back of the bum lifting off the ground, see if you can prevent it from going any further. So I'm going to hold my bum there, and then with the arm, I'm just going to pull it gently on the leg until I can feel the stretch coming down the side of the leg into the side of the bum. And then same as usual, play with the position of the hand. So if I hold on to my shin, if I hold on to my knee, if I hold on to my thigh, it changes the stretch. If I bring the leg higher, if I take the leg lower, it changes the stretch. Find the position that gives you the best stretch. If you're seated up, if I can, I'm going to lift and cross the leg over, and then I'm just going to pull it across with the arm. So see if I can create that traction. If I find that I can't lift that leg, it's just too heavy, won't go, then I'm just going to push both legs to the side. See if I can encourage a little opening to the side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release and back. If you're lying down on the back, rolling over onto the other side, and then we're going to set up into climb on the other side. So same starting position, the arm is supporting the head. If I can do that, the legs are together, the feet are together, connecting the center, and then I'm going to try and open the knees out and away from each other, and then close them back. Same as on the other leg, same as on the other side. See if you can think of the hips are holding still, making sure that it's not the hips are rolling forward and back. It's the leg moving into the hip socket, so I can feel the side of the bum on this side, of trying to grip on the leg, trying to pull the leg. And then if I'm seated, same as before, I can just push the knee out towards the side of the room, or I can make it a little bit more challenging by adding a little resistance with the arm. So I'm going to push against the arm, see if I can make the side of the hip work that little bit harder, and then coming back. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, I'm going to hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back. Relaxing the hip, releasing the leg, giving the hip a little tap if you need to. I'm going to give that leg a little stretch. So rolling over onto your back if you're lying down, that leg that you've just been using for the climb, you're going to hug it into the chest. And then just jiggling around that leg a little bit, see if I can let it drop into the hip socket, to see if I can let it settle there. Once that I'm happy that the leg is settled, then with the opposite hand, I'm going to grab hold of the leg, the other arm out to the side as a counterbalance, and then gently pulling the leg across. See if I can create that stretch. So same as on the other side, think of the bum. If the bum starts lifting too high, it's going to twist you. So it's going to take it into a back stretch. I want to stretch the hip more. So as soon as I can feel the bum lifting off the ground, I'm just going to hold it there, not let it go any further. And then with the arm, I'm going to try and create a little traction by pulling the leg across to see if I can get the stretch going down the side of the hip. Same as if I'm seated, crossing one leg over the other and pulling across with the arm, or just pulling both legs off to the side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Releasing the legs, returning the legs back to the middle. When you're ready, rolling over onto one side, And in your own time, pushing yourself all the way back up into sitting. Finding your comfortable seated position. So if you're already seated up, same as you did at the beginning, so if you can give yourself that lift at the front, the space to allow you to breathe. And whichever legs the position goes the best for your hips, and the arms are down by the side to offer a little support if you need to. I'm going to take a deep breath in. I'm going to start extending first. So I'm going to push the chest forward. I'm going to try and lift and open up the front of the body. I'm going to look up. I'm going to look back to see if I can take the stretch all the way up into the throat, all the way up into the chin. And then coming forward, letting the chin drop down to the chest, rounding the upper back, rounding the lower back, allowing yourself to drop as far forward as it feels comfortable for your back. And then up again in reverse. Extending your way through, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then release and coming forward, letting the chin drop, the shoulders come forward, the back around and relax. Last time, extending up, trying to lift and open up as much as you can, as much space along the front of the body, lifting up through the throat, through the neck, and then release and coming forward. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back, take your bow, give yourself a clap on that. Any question or anything as usual, please say. Remember, you need to unmute yourself